peso Priority Development Assistance Fund entitlement, commonly known as pork barrel, as part of his sturdy crusade against graft and corruption. He served as chairman of the Senate Committee on National Defense, Committee on Civil Service and Government Reorganization, Committee on Ethics, and the Committee on Accounts. His legislative record is packed with significant laws that he authored and sponsored, which includes, among others, the Public Act Number 9485, the Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007, Republic Act 10349, establishing the revised AFP Modernization Program, the Anti-Cheating Act of 2007, an act to further strengthen the anti-money laundering law, an act providing for a national policy on responsible parenthood and reproductive health, an act to restructure the excise tax and alcohol and tobacco, and the Philippine Dental Act of 2007, among others. In the aftermath of Super Typhoon Yolanda, President Benigno S. Aquino III appointed him as Presidential Assistant for Rehabilitation and Recovery with a mandate of unifying the rehabilitation and recovery efforts of government and other agencies. His efforts in the Yolanda rehabilitation led to the institutionalization of essential mechanisms on rehabilitation of calamity-affected communities. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm welcome to our friend, a fellow Rotarian, my president, the Honorable Panfilo M. Lacson.
Thank you very much, Past President Yu, Attorney, for the very kind introduction. It's just a 16 to 17 minute speech because I know everybody is ready to proceed to your fellowship night. The Honorable John G. Bongat, the very competent, performance-driven mayor of this wonderful and beautiful city of Naga. Good evening, sir. District Governor Pepe, immediate past District Governor Jojo, of course, world-class President Franz, immediate past President Ryan, incoming President Jeremy Lowe, my fellow Rotarians, the beautiful spouses present here tonight, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. There are rare moments in our lives when we will be asked to take a break, recollect the events that shape us, and evaluate how much we have done to effect meaning in this world. I believe that tonight is one of those moments for all of us. Over the years, we have persistently strived to be the person we envision ourselves to be. In our humble means, we undertake efforts to contribute meaningful gains to the world. The very fundamentals of Rotary Club, truth and fairness, selfless service, and faithful friendship and fellowship have defined the theme of this gathering, be a gift to the world. Your contributions have been transformative that it makes me realize that to be a gift to the world is to be of service above self. I look up to Rotary's model of service, which centers in the growth of our people and our entire nation. As a public servant like some, if not most of you, I also have my aspirations, my dream and vision for our dearly beloved country. Ito ay ang makitang ng bawat Pilipino ay namumuhay na mapayapa, masagana, at may dangal. Every citizen must have equal opportunity to pursue a prosperous life. Those in a position of power or wealth or influence are responsible for creating opportunities for others. Government must provide a level playing field. Those who have less must have more from government. Fair play for everyone, or in our native language, it is patas dapat. Those of us gathered here can be considered more blessed and more fortunate than many in the real world outside. Your gift of skills, faculties, knowledge, and resources abounds. Yet amidst all this, your most important gift is your unwavering drive and commitment to be of service to others. To the incoming officers of Rotary Club of Naga, to be a gift to the world is a challenge you shall behold in your term of office and beyond. You are to live up to the legacy of Rotary and its selfless service to the community, and most importantly, further the breadth and depth of your organization's noble cause. Through the years, this organization has affected meaning to the world by embarking on several community service projects like your health programs, clean water projects, and other charitable activities. I look up to Rotary's ethical guide in carrying out these efforts. It is known as the four-way test. In everything we do, say, or act, we shall test ourselves and resolve four questions. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? In a vision of a public servant such as myself, this can be a test of ideal leadership. We shall challenge ourselves to consider these questions every step of the way and be able to sleep with a light heart at the end of each day. Let us take one test at a time. First, is it the truth? I'm taking off from a pressing political story of today, which is about the issues surrounding the 2015 national budget. Recently, what I found as budget leakages in the General Professions Act of 2015 set the alarm to possible misuse and abuse of public funds. This spurred curiosity, concern, rage, but most importantly, action among committed individuals. However, in unfortunate accounts, some put malice in our intention. To this view, I would say, I have consistently fought and crusaded against all forms of corruption in government for as long as I can remember. I dedicated my time in scrutinizing the national budget because this is the most potent tool to drive the economy's growth, equal opportunity for national and local governments, and ultimately inclusive growth for the Filipinos. For 12 straight years, from June 30, 2001 to June 30, 2013, of being a senator, I studied, consulted, participated, interpolated, debated, from the committee hearings all the way to the Senate floor, even volunteered my membership in the Senate Bicameral Conference Committee, sometimes referred to as the third and most powerful chamber of Congress, in a crusade to protect the national budget. When I learned about PDAP over a decade ago, I maintained my strong pronouncement in a scathing privilege speech that I delivered on March 11, 2003, that, and I quote, "The pork barrel system is ugly, more often than not, cruel, and merciless towards the people we all swore to serve and protect when we took our oath of office." My foresight of the glaring misuse of public funds years ago slapped us in the face in the form of Janet Lim Napoles. History proved me right because I spoke of the truth. I am making a foresight. If today's anomalies will be another pork barrel story, I would not wager on the truth. Rather, I will stand by and for it. Everyone in this hall would understand my cause if we understand the second question in Rotary Club's four-way test. Is it fair to all concerned? A couple of years back, the Aquino administration orchestrated the Disbursement Acceleration Program, which, according to them, was meant to accelerate government spending and push forth economic growth. The Department of Budget and Management then issued National Budget Circular number 541, which gave the DBM the authority to pool and declare as savings unobligated, unutilized, and unreleased appropriations not at the end of the fiscal year, but the second quarter. Both the DAP and the Budget Circular 541 were declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court on July 1st, 2014. However, upon our scrutiny of the 2015 General Appropriations Act, we have discovered the obvious reincarnation of both the National Budget Circular 541 and the DAP through sections 70 and 73 under the general provisions of the 2015 General Appropriations Act. How did it happen? Specifically, the High Tribunal ruled unconstitutional three important provisions. First, the creation of savings prior to the end of the fiscal year and the withdrawal of these funds from the implementing agencies. The meaning of savings in Section 70 of 2015 GAA was drastically redefined for the first time in years. Those who think ahead may say that this was intentional to justify the creation of savings. Second, Section 73 authorizes realignment of funds to the extent similar to the unconstitutional Budget Circular 541. The Department of Budget and Management can approve realignments within the same expense class after the second quarter of the year and can likewise approve realignments from one allotment class to another after 9 months. Are they really recycling a violation of the law? Third and finally, the allotment of funds for projects, activities, and programs not outlined in the General Appropriations Act has been ruled out by the Supreme Court. Yet, scheming government officials still have a hold on allocating projects through lump sums, even past the budget approval and enactment. These are anomalous mechanisms in an attempt to circumvent the Supreme Court ruling. It is, much to our dismay, a terrible violation of public trust. In a country where the Constitution is considered as the highest ordeal of the land, wouldn't you agree with me that to transgress the Constitution is to lead the nation to deceit and to destroy the very concept of common good and fairness to all? While we put premium on the public service we expect from the government, it is only right to ask of their plan for the country. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Recently, the government rolled out reforms in our public financial management. The government adopted, starting last year, the so-called Unified Accounts Code Structure, or the UACS, a single classification system for all our government financial processes, from budgeting to cash management to accounting and audit. The United Accounts Code Structure calls for transparency and accountability. This is an act of goodwill for a citizenry pleading for reforms on budgeting. Unfortunately, yet again, as my team and I randomly analyzed this coding system, initially of the National Irrigation Administration, we unearthed that there are some codes missing. To our surprise, such missing codes were utilized to insert some projects during the budget deliberation in the House of Representatives and or the Senate. We likewise discovered that in the budget of the said agencies alone, there is a total lump sum amounting to 11.3 billion pesos. Our discovery in the course of our scrutiny of the National Irrigation Administration budget fueled our curiosity to further examine the appropriations of other agencies in the 2015 national budget. Tulad na lamang ng budget ng Department of Agriculture, para sa taong ito na nagkakahalaga ng 39 na bilyong piso. Isa sa mga napansin namin na item ay ang farm-to-market roads na mayroong lump sum budget na 6.25 billion pesos. Base sa National Expenditure Program o yung tinatawag na President's Budget, the lower house at Senate versions ng General Appropriations Bill, ang budget na ito ay nakalaan para sa mga regional offices sa buong bansa. Subalit, laking gulat namin na makita namin sa naipasang General Appropriations Act ng mga regional lump sums na ito ay naglahong parang bula at napalitan ng 1,389 line budget items para sa farm-to-market road projects sa iba't ibang parte ng bansa. Tinatado o tinatad ng mga mambabatas sa pamamagitan ng realignments ang 6.25 billion pesos. Nangangahulugan ba ito na nagbabalik ang multo ng PIDAP na nauna nang diniklarang unconstitutional ng Korte Suprema sa isang landmark ruling noong July 1, 2014 sa Department of Agriculture pa lamang po ito. Cry your hearts out, my fellow Rotarians. Of the 2015 General Appropriations Act, we have already discovered a total of 424 billion pesos worth of lump sum appropriations, also known as discretionary funds, parked in the budget of just 11 out of 21 major line agencies of the national government. Unfortunate events of the past made us frown upon discretionary funds, as these are prone to misuse in order to favor the few. Those who are behind these manipulations seem to have taken a delusional view on the concept building goodwill and better friendship, rather than a noble call of service. It looks like those who have control over the national budget glory at their position and influence in order to preserve personal interests and to favor the few. We say that the function of government is to secure the rights of all its citizens. So, it will be equally important to us. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Few months ago, I started an information drive about my personal advocacy on the equitable distribution of the national budget to the local government units, aimed at creating more development opportunities, thus improving the delivery of basic services, especially in the far-flung communities. After years of careful and thorough analysis, we have observed that if the national government would, at the very least, adhere to the guidelines set by the Commission on Audit, that the expenditures should not be A, irregular, B, unnecessary, C, extravagant, D, excessive, and E, unconscionable. Easily, there can be at least 500 billion pesos composed of very rational deductions from the regular budget, special purpose funds, and automatic appropriations which can be allocated to the local government units all over the country. With the assumption that these 500 billion pesos will be distributed equitably to fund development projects, programs, and activities, we can provide every year on top of the 20% of the local government's revenue share through the Internal Revenue Allotment or IRA, approximately 81 billion pesos or 1 billion each to our 81 provinces, 149 billion pesos or 100 million each of the 1,490 municipalities, 43 billion or 300 million each pesos each to the 144 cities, and 210 billion or 5 billion pesos each to the 42,026 barangays in the country. This would, of course, depend on the modality of distribution and implementation of local government or local development projects every year. Just imagine if this 500 billion pesos is translated into projects like livelihood activities infrastructure improvement, and the industry enterprise development. This could mean more job opportunities which direct to higher income of Filipino families all over the country. Subsequently, such would result in firmer domestic demands, efficient production, and a more stable consumption of goods and services. Through this manner, we can be certain that our growth as a nation is beneficial to all concerned, to the greater population. In sum, the inclusive growth that we often hear from your economic planners and policymakers will cease to become mere lip service, but a reality. Whenever I'm asked during interviews about the Philippines' problems, I always say that the country's #1 problem is government, bad government. The solution stares us right in the face of the problem itself. If we hope to solve the problems of most of the 100 million Filipinos, then the solution must be found in the government itself. It is called good government. We keep asking ourselves, what must be done? In reality, the answer lies in what Rotary exhorts us all to do: service above self. Service that tells us that we, who live in government, in business, in society, have an obligation to our fellow men to provide them with the opportunities to prosper within a democratic polity and their children to hope for a better future. And the first step also means choosing among us those who can lead by the power of good and selfless example, with unwavering determination to reform government, discard the politics of compromise and unseemly transaction, and instead enshrine service above self as the cornerstone of democratic governance. Come 2016, we have the power to press the reset button to change how our lives should be. As the horizon stretches before us, we have the chance to make a difference, to make a mark that would serve as a gift to our subsequent generations. Datapwat, hanggang patuloy na nakapikit ang mga mata ng nakakarami sa nangyayaring katiwalian sa ating bansa at patuloy nating iboboto ang mga malalalim ang bulsa, makakapal ang muka, walang kabusugan sa pera, mga kilalanang tiwali sa pamahalaan, wala akong nakikitang pag-asa sa ating bayan. Patuloy pa rin ba tayong magagalit at magbumura habang naghihirap? For now, I'm making this simple call to all of you, fellow Rotarians. Bilang mga kawani ng pamahalaan o kabahagi ng lipunan, magsama-sama na tayo sa paglaban sa katiwalian. Magsama-sama tayo upang pangalagaan ang karapatan ng mamamayang Pilipino laban sa mga ganit na nasa kapangyarihan. Let us all declare an honest-to-goodness, sustained, all-out war against corruption. It is the only way we can build a better future for our poor, for ourselves, but most importantly, to our children and the next generation. Most, if not all of you, are already reaping the fruits of your labor and your success. Is it too much to ask to share that success beyond yourselves? I could not think of a better way to end this message than leaving you with a simple quote from American cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead. She said, and I quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." Again, thank you very much for listening, and mabuhay ang Rotary Club ng Naga City.
Thank you very much, Senator. Please take the center stage, please.
Thank you very much.